was the 210th poet as well. This is my
Yeah,
third
so this is
feature.
the third. Okay, so now we've entered an exclusive club of 3 features.
3 features.
So you got the second entry. So we have Dr. Koshi, who
Yes.
is the only poet till now. So I'm going to send him a message to write that he has competition. So, yeah. So, it's an honor and privilege to have all of you. Thank you for coming this evening. And Saranya is a very, very dear friend of the cafe. And apart from all her accomplishments, which I'll read for you, she has, as we just discovered, she's already been featured twice before as a featured poet. And she's been the host for several of our special occasions. Our International Women's Day, our 10th anniversary, and so many more. Special occasions where we had a whole lineup of 10 poets and 20 poets, and she held the show. And thanks to you, Saranya, for that. Yeah. So, an award-winning author and educator, Saranya blends her roles as English lecturer, life skills trainer, and women's rights activist into verses that resonate across cultures. Recipient of the Star Ambassador of World Poetry and Bharat Award for Literature, Saranya brings a global perspective to her art. She is currently an assistant professor of English at St. Paul's College, secretary of ZAV Foundation, and member board of directors of a room of her own foundation, New Mexico, USA, and resides with her family in Bangalore, India. Today is special also because Saranya is going to launch her new book, which was just launched a couple of days ago in Calcutta. And it's our privilege in Bangalore to have her launch it here. Round of applause for Saranya. Thank you.
Perry, would you like to stay for a couple of minutes more?
Yeah.
We have a little something we'd like to unravel while you're around. Life does come full circle in a lot of ways. My very first public event of reading poetry, apart from the several things that I've done in school and college, a professional public event as a poet was at Urban Solace.
Oh, wow.
This was way back in the year 2012. I think 2012, yeah, 2012, 13, somewhere around that period, when I had just about discovered that, okay, I am ready to read my poems out in public. So that was my first time, and the first time was here at Urban Solace. Urban Solace also is a place for many firsts, because this is also the place where I met up with another friend who launched a book of his of short stories. And we used to meet here once a month to edit his book. He would come all the way from Chennai. He's a 65-year-old chartered accountant who used to make his way from Chennai to here to be present, to meet me to edit. We somehow still believe in the old world charm of doing things face to face. I still do to a large extent, which is why you still see me struggling with carrying heavy books rather than having them on a Kindle. So Perry was there giving us space for that. This is also the first place where I started the curation of a very special circle for me called as the Bangalore Poetry Circle. We have one member who's come from that family of mine, that extended space of mine, where we started a monthly poetry event where we would have poets come and they would gather and we would all read poems. We would discuss poems and discuss themes. Sometimes we used to discuss it on one theme, and some other times we would just have poetry read for the joy of it. There are times when we've had 3 poets, and one time when we had 28 poets just turn up all of a sudden, and the space was so full, and we didn't know how to accommodate everybody. So my first, the launch of Bangalore Poetry Circle was at Urban Solace as well. So this space is pretty much my poetry home. So as much as I get critiqued by a lot of people saying, why are you always doing stuff at Urban Solace? Why can't you find another place? Urban Solace is that part of the world, this part of the world. This is not the new Bangalore and things like that. I am Sorry, I find it very difficult to do that. It's like asking you to do something very special to you out of your home, and that's not possible. It will take some more coaxing and some more pampering before I can get to another place to do that. Perry has also been a very, very long associate of me and my circle of friends. He's always been an ally to people from all walks of life. And you know that any day that you feel low, you can come to Urban Solace and just grab a chai, sit, and wait for Perry to come. He will invariably come and spend some time with you despite his schedule. And you know that just a smile from him will pep you up, and you know that you have rested. Thank you, Perry, for being that space for not just me, but for so many poets in Bangalore. And I'm so proud that I'm a part of a legacy which is the longest such event, such poetry event running in the country. So congratulations, Perry, on managing to stay the same person despite what the world did to you. God was not all kind to him, but still he managed to ensure that we were all here and doing this. So it's only right that we release AUSTICE into Bangalore in the presence of Perry. I request Perry to please come on stage and receive AUSTICE. I also want to invite one person to whom the book is dedicated. Right? The book is dedicated to 5 of very special people in my life, one of whom is my nephew Joshua, who is also here this evening, despite being the busy man that he is. So I request Joshua and Perry to do the honors of releasing AUSTICE to Bangalore. Can you unwrap it, please? And give a copy to Perry. Namaste, sir. Please come. You. That's all. Says AUSTICE. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is the second book, yes.
Yeah,
The first one was launched outside, again we did the Bangalore launch.
Yeah. So wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Josh, for coming. Thank you for being that spark of hope. Thank you again. Alizi, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. All right, so one of the happiest things for me is that people are always ready to listen to me, virtue of being a teacher. But I've also had the privilege of being able to read poetry to people who would listen with discernment. They would be able to, sift the right from wrong and tell. So today I decided that I would not go by any theme or any set structure, because then that sort of defeats the purpose of AUSTICE. So I will start with 2 things. One is the foreword to the preface that I wrote, the introduction that I wrote to the book, because I think everyone involved with the book deserves to know how much it means to have them. So I wouldn't want to speak continuously. I would try to stick to the script and read through my preface. 4 is an interesting number. It gives a sense of symmetry and completeness, a sense of a firm foundation over which other blocks can be built. My 4th book, AUSTICE, feels just like that. When COVID-19 hit us in March 2020, a lot of us sought refuge in our art. I expected that my poetry would hold my hand too, and that I would experience a sort of overflow of powerful emotions every day. But strangely, all I felt was an emptiness. A wordless void kept sucking me in. It is then that I reconnected with the Room of Her Own Foundation, USA. The power of community and sisterhood is something I will never take for granted, ever again. Darlene, Andrea, Tracy, Sadhguru, Karina, Carrie, and Valerie, you all stood by me shoulder to shoulder in thought and deed, and through our virtual windows, we shared powerful space, and this helped me reclaim my words. We had several camps and dives that not only helped me write again, compose my artistic statement, and realign my sails, but also helped me understand mindfulness better. In the months that followed, I wrote poems, journaled with passion, and drew mandalas and composed essays, published papers, found the right attitude and confidence to join a meaningful PhD program at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham under the guidance of Dr. Vinata Sai, who's a blessing and the most compassionate of teachers I've met. And this caused me to rediscover my love for all things sublime, words to be specific. I did not think my fourth book was a possibility, but here it is, in all of my moorings and the last 3 years. I'm immensely grateful. Immensely grateful to Shantiniketan Literature Festival and Sri Arindam Roy for being the nudge to get this anthology going. I couldn't have asked for a greater joy than to have been offered an opportunity to release this book in Gurudev Tagore's homeland. My thanks also to my dear Perry Menzies for readily agreeing to host the Bangalore release of AUSTICE. I'm truly indebted to the people who stood by me during my lowest. My friends, my extended family, my immediate family, especially my nieces and nephews, who kept my spirits up and always made time for me to peek through windows, make paper cards, or ask questions that seemed naive at the surface, but held such deep philosophical undertones. Whenever we hear about bad things happening, especially when lives of so many are lost or damaged at the hands of so few, it often helps us to remind ourselves that people are generally good. Riya, Tanya, Joshua, Adrit and Advik, you all make me want to believe in this a little more, that we are a part of a rat race of good people, that no matter what evils take over the world, no matter how much the world tries to belittle your innocence and goodness, there will always be someone or something that helps you remember the goodness that you are innately capable of. And in that lies the hope of humanity. We are all hardwired for goodness. It's easier to recognize the fact in people children. Without mitigating factors, their innate goodness will not erode with age. But goodness is not the sole virtue of the young. I've saved the best for the last and will forever remain grateful for Francis. You are the embodiment of good in so many ways. You are the rock on which my world stands firm, and I cannot thank the universe enough for having transpired to make you my life partner. So go ahead, grab a book, buy the book, support the dying artist, flip through the pages of AUSTICE, because AUSTICE is all of you and all of me. And I hope you find in it a glimpse of the power held by the goodness that we all are capable of. Okay, forgive the aging teacher who's got different ailments that they cause her to sit every now and then. With the permission of the chair and the viewers who are watching, I will go ahead with something that I have learned to make a part of all my performances and all my artistic work. This is the artistic statement that I held, that was developed during one of those meetings that I had with my sisterhood, my creative sisters. So here's my artist statement. I am Saranya Francis, born in Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu, India, residing and creating in Bangalore. My artistic journey is deeply intertwined with poetry and meditative art. These practices serve as both a foundation for my writing and a means of centering myself. Through poetry, I became a discerning minstrel, harmonizing with the voices of my ancestors, my contemporary creative sisters, and the myriad whispers of nature. The essence of my work lies in portraying women as keepers of perspectives and narrators of history. This focus is paramount to me as I aim to ensure that voices like mine are recognized as serious chroniclers of the past. I'm committed to exploring the fluidity of gender, embracing the full spectrum of identity in my work. Listening to the voice of nature also profoundly influences my creative process, as it connects me to the universal rhythms and stories of the earth. My creative process is guided by the wisdom and influence of my creative matriarchs who shape my writing. This approach is crucial to understanding my art, as it acknowledges the collective inspiration and knowledge that have shaped my evolution as an artist. I believe in the transformative power of the written word, and that only a discerning leadership can truly appreciate the depth of a discerning narrator. Through my work, I strive to honor the interconnectedness of all beings and the timeless narratives we share. So let me begin with my first poem for the evening. The general trend is we generally have an invocation, we invoke what is divine. But for me, I think I have done it already by invoking what is deeply believed, what is at the core of an artist's heart, a muse. So today I begin with the name Austice. Austice is clearly a word, a word that is new to a lot of us. And it's clearly an amalgamation of two words, autumn and auspice. So somehow I believe that all of us, especially poets who believe in melancholy and believe in the muse and believe in the visiting of the muse during melancholy times, for us autumn is a great season because it gives us time to hibernate. It gives us time to be under the auspice of autumn. So autumn and auspice together is austice. It's a word coined by Joe Koenig and published in the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. Austice, he describes it as a wistful omen of the first sign of autumn, a subtle coolness in the shadows, a rustling of dead leaves abandoned on the sidewalk, or a long skein of keys sweeping over your head like the second hand of a clock. And I think to us poets, that sweeping gesture, that sweeping feeling is what makes poetry happen. So my first poem in honor of autumn, Austice. In the hush of dawn's embrace, she feels the world begin to shift. A whisper in the coolness traced, autumn's touch, a fleeting gift. She walks beneath the arching trees, where shadows lengthen, softly twine, and every rustle in the breeze speaks of a change, both fierce and kind. The trees above in measured flight, a second hand upon the sky, draw lines of yearning through the light as summer's warmth begins to die. In every leaf that falls, she sees the echo of her own descent. Yet, in the quiet autumn's keys, unlock a peace, a heart's lament. She gathers strength in nature's sign, a woman's journey strong yet wise, for in each ending she will find the power in her soft goodbyes. Her steps are sure, her spirit free, in autumn's grace she stands anew. For though the winds of change may be, her soul's resilience carries through. Thank you. I have been a resident of Karnataka, this is my home. Of course, I feel the affinity towards my Tamil roots, but this is where I grew up. Kannada comes more naturally to me than Tamil does when it comes to writing. I read Tamil, of course, I write in Tamil, of course, but not with as much ease that I would write Kannada. So often I get asked the question, you speak about nationhood, you speak about patriotism, you speak about culture. Why do you write in English? Why can't you write in one of your languages? Why can't you write in Kannada? Why can't you write in Tamil? Why can't you write in Hindi? I write in all these languages, but unfortunately, the muse visits in English somehow. And that has never been my fault, and I would always ask myself, why is it that I'm writing in English? Why is it that I'm unable to write in other languages the way I write in English? It's not something I feel very proud of. Right? I wish I could read the Aganaduru and Puranaduru and understand what is there. I wish I could understand Pampa and Kuvarpu as much as I understand Keats and Wordsworth. I wish I could follow the works of Ranna as much as I can understand the works of Shakespeare and Tagore. I wish I would understand Shakespeare's Rabindra Sangeet in Bengali and not in English. Because translation kills so much of the essence of things. But is it really my fault that I write in English? Is it really my choice that I write in English? So this poem is more of a reminder and an excuse to myself than an explanation to the people who ask me why I write in English. It could be both. So here it goes. Why I write in English. When the white tradesmen arrived with excuses reeking of wealth, they came with no guarantees for my ideas of self. They deftly rewrote my aspirations, tilled my dreamscape to barrenness, and taxed me for their kind of produce. They gave my gods of wisdom many an unpleasant name. introduced me to guilt, self-loathing, purgatory, and shame. They called me superstitious and reminded me of all my ancestral follies. Oh, that they never let me forget. They replaced my jasmine wafts with strains of daffodils and tulips. And upon my 300,000 varieties of native grains, they thrust their unifying idea of white bread. On my palm leaves of infinity and calculus, they smeared mundane inks of clerical arithmetic. Oh, my proud, free, voluptuous body and mind, they fastened blouses and corsets of false modesty. And it all came down to that final blow. They told me, and I believed, borders ought to be negotiated in a common tongue. They taught me only that which they would use. They trampled my multi-hued dialects under their shoes. I put up a fight, cried foul, and sang in a half-learned language coarse and bland. Once they were done with their plundering, they turned away from my half-dead, partitioned, fragmented land. And just when I thought freedom would drown all faded fruits in a ring, they took with them my colored language, the language I laughed and cried and dreamed. Thank you. So let's do this. Okay, this is a little experiment I'm going to try. I don't know if it will work, but I always believe that poetry should be engaging the listener, the reader, as well as the writer. Of course, Derrida said that the author is dead. So once you write, you're done with it. Somebody else has to interpret. But if I were to ask you all in the audience, what is the one tune that comes to your mind when I say nostalgia or childhood? The earliest tune that comes to your mind? Anyone?
Hills are alive with the sound of music.
The hills are alive with the sound of anyone.
Music.
Not alive, very. Come on.
The hills are alive with the sound of music. The song for 1,000 years.
Fantastic. Okay. The hills are alive with the sound of music, of course. Anybody else?
Thing of beauty's joy forever.
Beauty is the joy forever. 2 lines, 1 line.
A thing of beauty's joy.
A thing of beauty is joy forever. Do you have it in tune? Do you have a tune in your mind? No. Okay. Praise. Priyanka.
I always thought of Paint My Love. I used to really love that song. I'm very bad singer.
That's okay. Think my love, you should paint my love. It's the whisper of 1,000 sunsets, the freedom of 1,000 times. Baby, you should paint my love. Awesome.
That's a lovely song.
Thank you for the memory. That was a cassette that was on the cassette that Francis used to play very often, which he borrowed from Joshua's stand. It's MLTR. Okay. One of the earliest tunes that come to my mind is Malgudi days, DD1, DD2, did not know 100 other channels. There is one channel you have to play, one channel you have to depend on. And there was Swami and Friends, which is alive, coming alive with under the wonderful, wonderful guidance of the great artist Shankar. What a wonderful series it used to be. And we used to get lost in the world of Swami and money and his friends. So somehow this memorabilia, I feel is attached to a lot of these objects, tunes that we have once heard, cinema tickets that we have saved up, tissue papers on which we have the lipstick stains of somebody we went out with, or I don't know, even a cassette that has, I don't even think that half the people in this room will know. I'm not looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the others, right? I don't think half the people would know what it means to wind and unwind a cassette. So somehow this memorabilia or things that we leave behind have the tendency to make us misty-eyed every once in a while. So this poem was written as a response to one of the activities I had in the classroom. So I have this thing where my students are creating art, and I create art with them. Because how else will they get the confidence to, present their work to the world, right? And they're so much better at it than I am. So this poem is called Memorabilia. For those of you from the 90s, you'll be able to nod your head to most of the things. For those of you who are not from the 90s and are a little later, you can always chat GPT or whatever comes easy to you, okay? I can't even say Google it now because that's a passing. Alright, it's called Memorabilia. Like this evening, okay? It's about an evening. It was one such evening, the one that brings back memories that haunt you and fill you with a strange, painful strength to carry on. Flood of emotions, a voice singing, रात कहीं एक ख्वाब में आई और गले का हाल हुई सुबह को जब हम नींद से जागे आंखों ही से चार हुई रात कहीं एक ख्वाब में आई और गले का हाल हुई. Videos of poetry in a familiar language. Rain on a summer evening in a town by the seashore. A small card signed with a pseudonym on Teacher's Day, much before I became one. A movie scene flashing back and forth, only we both knew the meaning of. Buy two coffee at Nisarga. Buy two coffee at NKV. Just buy two coffee. Late night pickup courtesies at airports, railway stations, and bus stops. And a man who still does not listen to things that I'm actually talking about. Late night pickup courtesies on foot. Incoming calls that cost precious money. Calling cards purchased to make that one call home. The miraculous 37th click on a Kodak 10. Photographs. Photo studios. Photo frames. Photographers. Neruda, Tagore, Bharati, and Kannadasan. Books with dog ears, pens with their original packaging, leaves and flowers between pages. Half-written songs from an AI absent age, letters, tissue papers, stashes of papers with signatures, fingerprints, and lipstick marks. Kajal stains on a t-shirt collar, a torn 20 rupee note, silver coins, 25 paise coins, 1 rupee notes and 5 rupee notes, a broken earring, unfinished painting, turmeric sticks, ash in paper, bus tickets, movie tickets, train tickets, and the little girl that reminds me of the mother that I went to school with. Thank you for coming. Bus tickets, movie tickets, train tickets, bank forms, passbooks, uncashed check leaves, that joint account debit card. A.R. Rahman and Ilayaraja, and John Denver and MLTR. Paintings of the sunset, sunrise, a village hut and a waterfall. Waterfalls and seashores and mountains and hotel rooms. Smell, touch, sound, sight, taste, and love, or something like that. It was just one such evening, a while ago. And now, it's that routine morning all over again. Just before you arrived, I sang in very bad voice. You can catch me live on Facebook, okay? Sorry, on YouTube, okay? How are you? I'm good, thank you. Oh, made my day, my month, my week. Thank you so much. See, that's what I mean, you know. Goodness is there everywhere. You just have to see it. And children have it in abundance. Okay, after that mushy, cute little, pretty little space that we were in, I'd like to move on to a space that I strongly, strongly believe in. A space that I think should be a reminder to everybody. So I have plenty of children growing up around me. And one of those times, it was one of my niece's birthday. And of course, when there are birthdays, there are gifts, there are cakes, there are these things that you pamper a kid with. And because it is my niece and not my nephew, obviously the gifts she gets will be cooking set, will be jewelry making kit, will be Barbie dolls, and wonderful, thoughtful presents like that. And it will annoy the feminist in me so badly, saying, why? Why do you want her to play with the cooking set? Why do you want her to play with Barbie dolls? Why do you want to shove those notions of beauty and womanhood in her when she's hardly there? Okay, right. So this poem is called Playing Dress Up. Ah, there you are, my precious, playing with your freshly opened birthday gifts, lost in your dolls and thoughts of girlhood and play school rifts. As you plait your doll's hair and set her clothes right one more time, I wonder if I should tell you, this is make-believe beauty. It is a feminist crime. As you admire your playmate's clothes and the idea of body she propagates, I wonder if I should replace your space with books and rackets and roller skates. Your dolls made of plastic and glittery glue isn't one bit how girls should want to be least of you. As I hesitate, my own girlhood fantasies flash before my eyes, and I'm reminded of my own follies with dolled up lies. I remember how I was told I would never be the dancer in the front row. How fat you are? Too fat, too short, too dark, too real to be leading a fantasy show. I remember wishing I were like that beautiful doll. So that I see me cry so many times when I was thinking those things. Rape-like, dimple-cheeked and slim and tall. I realize you would probably idolize these figurines too, my girl. And I believe in that, which is simply untrue. But I hold back my thoughts and let you be. For these are truths you'll on your own have to see. You'll have to find the notions of ought to be. Feel your own hurts and find your own definitions of what is here, now, and what is free. And as I sit to send out your birthday invite the next year, I add one last line in the cards, a foresight. No gifts, please. Just send your child. And of course, the child grows up. The child grows up and she's told what to do, what not to do. You have to sit this way. Don't laugh loudly. Don't talk loudly. Why are you dressed up like this? But what was she wearing? You morons of the world, right? So this poem is a response to all those people who ask these questions or who say these things to girls so often. It's called Too Loud for You. Oh, too loud for you. I guess you weren't taught to put up with dissent, or question wrongs of the actual kind, or deal with noises that go asunder, or voice against the evident blunder, so go ahead and point out meek symbols of a judgmental gender. Am I too clumsy in my flowy hairdo? I guess you don't understand what works for me in my 6-yard wonder. I can still play roles beyond domesticity, scale walls, draping my identity on there. Too liberal for your sensibilities, am I? Excuse me, but I refuse to pander. I am the tempest that stirs the sea, the whisper of freedom in the ancient trees. My spirit is a phoenix, rising from the ash, unbound by your fears, unfazed by the clash. For in my silence there lies a storm, a symphony of strength in a feminine form. I am not just a whisper, I am a roar, a timeless echo that you cannot ignore. So call me loud, call me fierce, for I am the change you fear to pierce. In every fold of my sari, a story of resilience, of power, of untold glory. And this is, of course, Saurek, my brother's favorite poem. It's called Finishing School, in line with the poem that I just wrote. Because it's not just enough that we are women, we are women with neighbors. Okay? I mean, I love my neighbors, they're the best in the world. Okay? But we are women with neighbors. And neighbors are not just neighbors who stay next to our house. These are people who sit next to us, people who sit with us in the bus stop. If you're taking a cab, you're going alone on a journey in a train. These neighbors all build on a certain ought to be image that you should maintain. And so this is written in response to one such neighbor. It's called Finishing School. It's very conversational. Finishing school. So the other day, Mrs. Sen tells me, your daughter needs a finishing school. Intrigued by her resolute voice, why so, I inquired, acting cool. You see, she sits with her legs apart, laughs so loud as if the world is her homestead. She won't shop or twin trade with my daughter. Prefers my son's company, talking law, travel and automobiles instead. I look at her and ask, anything else offending you? I prod her ridiculous sense of appropriateness. Why, the other day, she argued for, she hesitated with a blush. The other day, she argued for, I asked almost tauntingly. She continued in a hush, for those kind of people and their union and such. She even went to say that marriage is merely vanity's crutch. Having heard enough, I simply said, finding her a finishing school for the above lessons is beyond my ability, my Ken's essence. Why don't you instead lend me for a while the time machine you used to journey a century-long mile that got you here, that made you fear my daughter's legs apart and her sensibility is so smart? Or maybe she could teach at your son's next life lessons class chapters he seems to have skipped in his frail attempt to earn your approvals. Free pass. Two more poems and then we will wind up the evening and start the book signing and things like that. We have 4 5 wonderful poets who are here amidst us as well. Some closet poets who will not accept that they are poets as well. So we will we'll have a quick open mic of one poem, innocent. We'll hear one poem each from probably the few poets that are here as well after this. A couple of more poems and then we will wind up. We will go ahead with the book reading. This is one of the most difficult poems that I wrote. The reason I say it is difficult is because this is not at all my style of writing. Right? This is a response to a very difficult conversation I had with someone. This poem is void of full stops. Right? It's written as a meditative exercise after this diet that I have now. It's called sandpaper scrapings. Okay, I know the very sound of the word sandpaper. I mean, sandpaper is giving us that thing in the ear. But that's how we women feel sometimes when things are brushed against us. I mean, we are at a time when we are discussing the revival of so many conversations, and I think it's the perfect time to talk about how we feel. Sandpaper scrapings. Listen. Pay heed. Can you hear it? That noise caused by the friction of my surface against yours, me, sandpaper, constantly, symmetrically, vigorously, without any semblance of gentleness, or symbiosis. Symbiosis. Interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association, typically to the advantage of both. Both. You get that? Both. scraping against you. You! An uneven crass, obstinate wall of age-worn concrete, opaque. Opaque. Not able to be seen through. Not transparent. Not transparent. You heard that? A wall behind which nothing pleasant and agreeable can be created unless the shrill, unpleasant, nauseating, twinge-inducing radula, a rasping organ, a flexible tongue line found in most mollusks having rows of horny teeth on the surface. Rows of horny teeth. Couldn't be any more similar unless the radula of this sandpaper gives you that perfectly flat, not smooth, flat finish. So that paints like masks of various hues can make your patriarchy's walls look unbearable enough for the sensibilities of concrete jungles. You can continue raising, and more sandpaper scrapings like me can be piled up to validate the idea of you. Thank you. This is a poem that I wrote long back when I wasn't able to spend enough time with the one that I loved. And we had sort of reached this part. We were still denying, we were still denying ourselves the feelings that we had, and we were like, okay, maybe we are just friends. Okay, maybe we are not going to get married. Why should we hurt so many people? Why should we this? Why should we that? This is that phase. And at this point where I was really, really missing this man, and I knew that this person was an indivisible part of me. The phone lines went silent for quite some time, okay? And from both sides. Don't look at him, he doesn't remember a thing.
That's why I was looking at him. He looked lost.
It's called How Are They? The remnants of our day of parting. How are they? The remnants of our day of parting. The creaky pillion space of your borrowed bike. The stain of my cold, smeared ice on your shirt on the shoulder. The strained note of the last melody you sang for me. That folded piece of empty nothings we left behind at that street corner. The creases on your sleeve, caused by my silent plea as you stood stoic. The dampness in the January wind, which annoyed you so much. How are they, the remnants of our day of parting? We hurried goodbye, or the lack of it. We uttered or did not that evening. The faint mark that my nails left behind when I held your hand so tight. The vain scribblings in frost I made on the windowsill, and the home of the windowsill that now belongs to some stranger. That busy tone on the other side of the calls I made and its permanence. The bewilderment of the shade in the moment we knew was the last of such. How are they, the remnants of our day of parting? Those verses we had just begun, those melodies we had only half sung, those moonbeams we wasted unkissed, those apologies we had meant to exchange, those roads we mindlessly chose to trot, those shores we almost walked, those conventions we remembered, those promises we forgot, and that lost glow of love we had only begun to understand. How are they, the remnants of our day of parting? AUSTICE has a couple of poems that were written as an inspiration, or written having been inspired by songs of the past. So there is this very famous song called Mera Kuch Saman. I'm sure some of you know it. Mera Kuch Saman Tumhare Paas Banaye. So it's Rakhi in her distress, heaving and sighing and talking about lost love. So this poem is probably inspired from that, because I find a lot of shades of that poem here. I would like to close with two of my favorite poems. This is called Lotus Eye, Lotus Feet. I was born in Srinagar, Trichy, the land of Ranganathan. And I had the absolute joy of making fun of Francis when we got married because there's a lot of ritual that is around the groom being respected as if he were Ranganathar's, incarnation, things like that. So I've had those beautiful memories from that time. This one I wrote when I recently went to Sri Lanka. This was the month of March. It's called Lotus Eye, Lotus Feet. Shavik will come and complain later saying, you cannot have one poetry reading without talking about your Krishna. No, you have to talk about him. I'm sorry, I have to. He's a part of me. There's nothing I can do about it. I dedicate this also to my aunt and uncle, my Chitti and Chittappa, my mother's first sister. She's from Sri Lanka, and I've had some of my best memories traveling to Sri Lanka. In Sri Lankam's embrace, where legends breathe, amidst the chants where devotees seek, stands the sanctorum of serene grace, with lotus eyes and lotus feet. Lotus eyes that hold the universe's being, reflecting divinity in eternal stream. In the sanctum's depths, they silently speak of cosmic secrets, mystic and unique. Lotus feet lead a muse to poets of lore, each step a tale forevermore. With each touch, they bless and heal in Sri Lankam's realm, verses blissfully kneel. O Ranganatha, of Sri Lankam divine, in every devotee's heart, you resplendently shine. Your temple a haven where souls find peace, guiding us through life's trials, sorrow cease. Childhood memories like fragrant flowers bloom in temple corridors where stories loom. Chitti and Chittappa's tales unfold of deities revered, their glories untold. Each sannidhi a world of its own, with histories ancient like seeds once sown. We listen in awe, our hearts complete, in Rangan's embrace, mesmerized by his lotus eyes, lotus feet. Eons after, I bow at thy altar, with reverence deep, a flickering dream of the one in an all-knowing sleep. In Sri Rangam's temple, where the yugas melt and meet, forever in obeisance to your lotus eyes, lotus feet. And of course, I will not be able to complete my feature if I don't read about one of the greatest experiences of my lifetime, which is a fantastic journey we took to Africa. Francis and I had spent about 12, 13 years saving up to travel to Africa, and this trip was unbelievably enriching. So this poem I wrote while on the trip. This is about an incident that I had with one of the sellers of jewelry. You make all these. They make women there of the Masai Mara tribe. They make various beads, necklaces, earrings, so on and so forth. So I went to her and we were bargaining, and she said different things, and we were having an argument. And we have to bargain. Like how can you not bargain? You will buy all those branded products without thinking twice, paying 10 times the price they are worth. But to a street vendor, you will go and show your bargaining skills. And you will go and say, no, I cannot give you 5 rupees, I will give you only 3 rupees. Because in that 2 rupees, I'm going to save my world, you see. So I was doing this to the artisan. But also because in tourist places, we are often told, say you bargain, you don't buy it at the price. But this moment really changed the way that I looked at my own art. The artisan's lesson. In Masai Mara's sun-drenched marketplace, where vibrant beads catch light like morning dew, I met a woman with a regal grace, her hands creating art both old and new. Her price seemed very high, my traveler's instinct strong. I bargained, pushed as I had done before, but in her eyes I saw I had been wrong. Her quiet dignity made me unsure. I am an artist. This is my art. I am an artist. This my art. In broken yet firm words she quipped. I'll keep art, you keep money. It's worth, madam, I know. Broken yet firm words. Her words like lightning struck my heart and head, a mirror to my soul. She knew her work's value. I hadn't a clue. For I had given too much for far too little. My talents bartered cheap in corporate halls. My worth, like hers, was neither small nor brittle, yet I had answered the meaning calls. In silence then I paid her quoted price, Her bead work gleamed in fading light. Her wisdom purchased at no small sacrifice had shown me how to stand up for my right. O Masai teacher in your tribal dress, you've taught me more than any learned tone. To value self, to settle for no less, a lesson carried to my distant home. Now, when I'm asked to compromise my worth, I think of you so proud beneath the sun, your art, your strength, anchored in ancient earth, reminding me of the battles to be won. In Masai Mara's dust, a seed was sown of self-respect and dignity restored. From bead to bead, truth was subtly shown. Our work, ourselves, forever to be valued, never to be ignored. Thank you. So then I close the evening with the closing poem, which is, I know I said I will close it with the previous one, but sorry, I will never be great at mathematics. First and last, everything seems like the same thing to me. So, what's the time, Francis? It's okay.
8:37.
Not bad. Okay, I thought I should close at 8:30. So it's good enough. 8 minutes. And this is for all the people who arrived late, passionately. Okay. So this one is called Is It Autumn Already? Is it autumn already? I've only begun savoring the delicious outbursts of the January sun. I've only begun writing my songs of memories that are half spoken, half done. I've only begun adding these multi-hued threads to a youth's wistful tapestry. I've only begun speaking my mind, just woken from a dreamless reverie. You say it's autumn already? You've only begun to whisper secrets to the whispering willow trees. You've only begun to dance the shadows with shadows cast by the reluctant breeze. You've only begun to paint the sky with colors of twilight's fleeting kiss. You've only begun to cherish moments wrapped in autumn's golden bliss. Can it be autumn already? The leaves are still green with stories yet untold. The river flows unburdened by the weight of the cold. The roses bloom in gardens of Eden's embrace. The clock's pendulum sways with no sign of a race. The harvest moon hangs like a lantern in the night, an allegory of change in soft silver light. The apples still cling to branches strong and tall, like promises of youth unyielding to the fall. Is it autumn already? In the cycles of time, a season for all things, a time to gather, a time to spread our wings. Yet I've only begun to know the warmth of the sun, to write my chapters before this story is done. So tell me, dear muse, as you whisper through the trees, is it truly autumn or merely a fleeting breeze? For I've only begun this journey of my own, and autumn's but a stage in life's tale overdrawn. Thank you very much. It's been a great evening because I thought I will have 3 people in the room, but all of you showed up for me, and that means so much. Because I think what is great for an artist is not the money the artist makes, but the fact that somebody turns up for you, to listen to you. Maybe not out of the great love for your great art, which might be very humble and very normal, but because the great love that they house for you in their hearts. And that I think was the revelation this evening. Thank you so much for being here. It means so much. Thank you once again for taking time out, for choosing to spend a workday afternoon evening with me, knowing that tomorrow morning is going to be yet another day, and you have to rush back to your spaces to work and do what has to be done. A quick note on one thing that I wanted to do when the event began, but I couldn't because the person I wanted to wasn't there. I would like you to meet someone very special to me, a very favored, I know as a teacher I'm not supposed to say this, but she is my favorite child, okay? I have my biases, I don't want to lie. This is my Kavya's not here. This is Kavya's younger sister. I'd like you all to meet Relina and Philip, the beautiful artist who, I think you're later, okay. The beautiful artist who made the cover page of AUSTICE.
Wow.
His lovely artwork that you see on the cover is made by Relina. You will see that I asked her to rework on it because of some factors. And as she was reworking, there's a little smudge of the ink. It's not a mistake on the book, okay? It's actual smudge in the actual image that she drew. And then inside you will see perfect illustrations. And these illustrations are by AI. These are illustrations that we created. Thank you so much, very sweet of you. I intended to give it to all the participants. Very good, thank you. So these illustrations were created by AI. Each of these illustrations. So what I would do is I would give AI a prompt saying that this is what my poem is about and this is how I want the image to look. And AI would give me a couple of options and I would like tweak it and say this should be here and this should move there, this should move there. So AI gives me the privilege of calling me the co-artist of this image that AI created. And that's how you cite AI. So I wanted to tell the world that we can all decide to be old world people and say AI is all bad and AI is terrible and AI is like taking over the world and all that. Or we could be people who could walk alongside artificial intelligence and tell the world that unless there is proper human input, artificial intelligence is only a machine. And it can do great things quicker, faster. It is the future definitely. You can either embrace it and walk along with it or be left behind. But no matter what you do, it will never be as pretty and as warm as what is there on the cover page. So Relina, thank you so much for being the lucky charm and being the person who created the cover page for me. Can I request Shavik to pick up a book? Welcome Relina, so we can give her a signed copy of the book. I wanted to give it alongside the release, but well, better late than never. Come, Relina. So, Relina, the only way I know to respect another artist is by partaking my art with her. And the very first copies of my book went to my parents, apart from the books that went to the library at Vishwabharati where the book was released. And of course, it will be there in the central library of Vishwabharati where Rabindranath Tagore's manuscripts are also there. So I feel very great and delighted. I mean, elated about it. But this is one of the first signed copies that I'm handing over as a mark of respect to another artist that I immensely respect and care for. I hope you achieved great heights. I know it wasn't easy for you to be here this evening, but you still made it. She was so sick in the afternoon working. But I'm so happy that you're here. So here goes one of the first copies of the book, okay? Oh, it's you! I'd like you to read like 2-3 lines from the book if you can. I know, just 2-3 lines from the book if you can, just to like wrap this thing up. Okay? You could do the thing that you used to do, open the book and figure out the page. Go to her and then you will go with the other artists.
I'm sorry in advance for my voice. I'm just having a throat infection. But this is called The 9 Circles of Heaven. What is it? Her highest virtue? What makes her the most exalted? Here there are the 9 circles of ascension, a humble bard's humble succession. O Dante, Virgil, and the sons, birds of yore, I exalt your ingenuity and share my visions and more.
Want to tell them when it was written?
Yeah. Okay. So in I think 3rd year, right?
Fine.
In our final year of bachelor's, ma'am had given us this assignment where we had to sort of come up with our own version of the dance, like Inferno, basically, like the 9 circles. Yes. So that. And we all, like a class of I think 42 students, we all gave like our own image to it. And mom was so pleased by it. I remember she had a whole exhibition of our art. We were her favorite class, obviously.
Hands down.
But I remember the smile on her face and I will forget that. She inspired me to sit all night writing, I think 4:30 a.m. And then the next day I brought it to her. Basically what I had done was, I had painted this cardboard. I covered it with like white paper mache. And then I painted like two hands holding the world on one side, and on the other side it was like a castle. The
9 levels. with
yeah,
9
there's the 9 levels. And I had cut it into puzzle pieces. And when I gave it to mom, I gave it undone. So she had to fix the puzzle in order to complete the art.
We turned it around and we saw the devil holding the hands of the world, it was very surreal, surreal. And that's why I said she's a much greater artist than I am, because our students tend to inspire us in so many ways, and we think you're so great, you're so fantastic, but these kids will come up with something like this and one slap on your face and you'll be like, yay, this is like something I never imagined. So I wrote this poem as a response to the same activity that I gave them. So thank you, Relina. On that note, we will move ahead with the other poets that are here. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you all would like to read one poem? One short poem, please. One short poem. Sir, you also? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I'll read one.
Fantastic. Okay. We'll start with Souvik, followed by Hariji, followed by Astha, and we will then have Cyril. Okay, is that okay? Joe? Right, thank you. Okay. The book will be available for sale. You can contact Souvik, the one who will read his poem here. You can read in any language. The Tuesday of the Bar is always open to all languages. So you can buy the book. Souvik will help you buy it. I hope all of you all have registered. If you have not, then please meet Janvi and register for the event as well. Thank you once again. It's been a great evening. Over to our open mic course for the evening. Thank you.